Today I have such a busy day in the kitchen, and so I wanted to just take the camera along and show you what I'm making. I'm going to be doing turkey pot pies, and I wanted to also do energy bites for my kiddos for this week. It is currently Sunday afternoon, and I have a little bit of downtime, so I can go ahead and make a few things. I'm also going to be making some bread to have for sandwiches this week, and just tidying up around the house. If you are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. Also, if you guys aren't familiar, I have a podcast called the Simple Life Project Podcast. I've been very consistent with that. I record and release every Thursday. It's basically simple living, really just genuine mom talk and simple meals. Okay, I'm gonna get going in the kitchen because I have all my kiddos napping and I have a clock. For this sourdough sandwich bread recipe, it calls for 8 cups of flour, 2.5 cups of water, 1 cup of active sourdough starter, 1 tablespoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of honey, and 1/2 cup of butter softened. I love this recipe so much because I can literally do it at lunchtime and let it rise for the remainder of the day. And then right around 8 o'clock after I get my kids down to bed, I can let it do its second rise in loaf pans. So I just love this recipe so much because it's very hands-off, and it's something that makes 2 loaves of bread for our family, and that usually lasts our family a couple of days. So it's just a really easy recipe to enjoy for a couple of days. The next recipe I really love to make during lunchtime when I have a bit of time on my hands while the kids are sleeping is to whip up a batch of energy bites. My kids also come and help me with this. Not all of them are napping at this point, and so I can just have them help me and make them. They like to put the ingredients in a bowl and stir them for me. I like to quadruple this recipe because we eat them quite often, and the recipe calls for 4 cups of old-fashioned oats. This is actually when I quadruple it. It's 4 cups of old-fashioned oats. It's right around 2 cups of peanut butter. I do a 1/2 cup of ground flaxseed or hemp hearts or chia seeds. It doesn't matter. I usually do a 1/2 of either or all. And then we'll add in some honey. I'll add just under half the amount of peanut butter to honey ratio, so it's right about a cup of honey, maybe a little bit more. And then I will go ahead and add in some vanilla extract, and I will go ahead and do some chocolate chips at the very end. It can be really to your liking what you like to add. Sometimes I like to add cashews, other times I don't, so it just really depends on what your preferences are. I put this mixture in the fridge after I go ahead and stir up everything and let it cool off before I add the chocolate chips. Next up on the menu for today is to start prepping my turkey pot pies. I like to make a homemade gravy from scratch. It's basically butter, chicken broth, salt, pepper, and a little flour. I make sure I stir it really well so there are no clumps, and typically actually don't add the broth in first. I do the butter and the flour, and then I slowly add in the broth. And so I'm doing this backwards today, but it actually worked out nicely. And I've kind of gotten to the point where I don't measure a whole lot, I just kind of do it to feel. But this recipe is really easy because I make a broth, I simmer it down and make it creamy, and more of like a gravy, and then I add some frozen mixed veggies in there and then chop up either chicken or turkey, whatever I have on hand. I've even used ground beef at times. It really just depends on what we have, and I will go ahead and just kind of throw it all together. I make my sourdough pie crust from scratch and have basically enough for 2 pies. I like to even make extra filling sometimes and put it in a gallon Ziploc baggie and freeze it so I can pull it out and have a quick meal where all I have to do is make the pie crust. And so it's a pretty versatile meal that most everyone in my family likes, and it's something that I just love making every single month. I don't make it every week, but I do like to make it at least once or twice a month, and it's just something that we really love to enjoy, especially in the colder winter months, but I will still make it in the spring and summer too, and in the fall. Wrapped up and we have the kids in bed, I usually just like to sweep the floors or I like to steam the floors depending on how the day went. And then I always like to make sure the countertops are sprayed off and clean and ready to go for the next morning at breakfast. I also really like to make sure that the bread that I have rising in the KitchenAid bowl is split, and I like to put it in the loaf pans so it can do about an hour to 2 hour rise, and this gives me time to get myself ready for the evening after I've cleaned up around the house, and it gives that bread time to do a second rise before I throw it in the fridge for the evening. And it's a really simple process. I just cut it in half and then put it into 2 buttered loaf pans, and the dough is really, really easy to handle. It's not dirty at all. Your hands don't get sticky. It's just simple to handle. So I really like to do this at night when I know I have about an hour or 2 before I go to bed. I did also want to talk a little bit about this Leaffinity soap. I typically don't do sponsorship things on my channel. I've said no to a lot of things on my channel that maybe people wanted me to promote because they wanted me to get in front of an audience. And I've said no to plenty of things that just weren't relevant to my life or that I didn't think were good products, but this product is really awesome. I really just recommend it. These are let me show you what it looks like. It's basically hand soap refills, and they come in a tablet form, and it is so cool. It's just like zero waste. This is the soap, and you add water and it foams just like a regular foaming hand soap. And so I just love how simple it is, and I love how many uses you can get out of it. And so I definitely support this product, and I feel like it's a really good thing to have around your house, and it's an awesome gift. So I will leave a link for 50% off your first order in the description box below. So take a look at that and take advantage of that, you guys. It's a really cool offer. So now that my bread is rising, I am going to wrap up and head to bed and just kind of sign off for the night, but I'm super glad to be back on this channel. It's been a while, like I was saying, and I feel like I've made every excuse in the world why I wasn't going to record, whether it's new baby, life adjustments, my software editing system going down, all the things. But I'm really excited to share what we've been up to lately with recipes and just home life and all the things. And so stay tuned for more videos coming up in the next few weeks, and I will see you then.